Hello again, welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion of CSS and Sass. Okay, in the previous video we introduced Sass and we got the compiler running and we started some Sass, right? We added some variables here, and you might have added a few more variables there. You know, let's do it. So maybe we'll do a variable for red, you know, and this can be our red color that we had down here, wherever I put that. It was this one, right? So I'll replace this with our red color, and then let's make a yellow, I think was our other color, right? And you know, we can repeat our process here. Yellow. Don't forget that semicolon. Sass is very picky about the semicolon. Actually, CSS in general is picky about the semicolon, right? I'm going to put green here and get the green color. And there we go. Let's do, what's the next one? I guess the next one was cyan. Let's do cyan as our color. Should be this one. And the last color was blue. So there, I've done some more variables there. This is going to make my life easier in the future. Oops, we better put the name in there, right? Blue. And then I'll put this here, right? You know, and then if everything's, oops, I have a problem. So I have an extra semicolon, or I'm missing a value. Let me see, oops. Where did I miss? Oh yeah, I missed it down here. Let's do $ blue, and then everything's back to normal. So that's looking pretty good. Actually, it looks like, you know what, I put the blue in the wrong spot. Oh, this one should have been cyan. I forgot to do that. No wonder, right? Okay, there we go, right? Okay, now we're back to normal. Let's talk about some more features of Sass, okay? So one of the features of Sass is the way that it lets you write selectors. So normally if you were to write a selector, like for example, if I had an element called parent, you know, and then I had an, actually I don't really have the element, so I'll just leave that blank. And then if I had an element called child, right, you know, I could put it here, but sometimes I might want to select a child that is only a child of this parent. Like for example, like if parent had a div inside it and I wanted to get to that element, I might do this. I might say parent child div like that, right? And I use the, you know, the arrow here, right? And that represents the child element, right? Or you might say, like, I want to get all the divs that are descendants of this parent, okay? So normally I'd have to write all the rules for the parent here, and then I'd have to write all the rules for the descendant or the child in here, right? And there might be like a lot of rules, right? It could be a long list, and then I have another long list. You've probably done this, you know, 100 times, right? So Sass gives us a new arrangement for this, okay? I'm going to leave this here so we can kind of compare it. In Sass, we could say parent like this, and I could write the rules. Like I could say color is orange, okay? And then I could say, you know, font size is 22 pixels, okay? If I had a child element like this div and I wanted to give it a width and a height, I could say div, and notice I put the div inside here. And when I do this, what's happening is it's creating a descendant selector. So the output of this, let's do this actually. Let's say, let's give this a border of 20 or 2 pixels, solid, and a width, wait, let's do the width of 20 pixels, right? I don't know, something like that. And when I look at the style sheet, let's see how this is output, right? When I look at the top here, you'll see that SAS wrote both rules. So it wrote parent and then it wrote div, right? It actually filtered these rules out for me because it saw that they were blank, right? So I'll just delete those because those are going to get filtered away. When I look in here, though, you can see that it actually took the rule that we had. Let me actually move these like side by side here, right? So, so we started with this, right? And SAS turned it into this, right? 2 blocks. Okay, gave us 1 block here for the parent, which had these things in it, and then another block here, which was the descendant that was a div. Okay, so that's actually kind of nice for us sometimes because I'm going to save that, right? Actually, you normally don't edit the CSS file, right? But this is kind of nice because now, like visually, when we write the code, we can kind of see that these are all inside the other thing, okay? So that's kind of nice. It also saves on selectors because you don't have to write an extra, block and selector every time, right? Maybe because they're indented, it's a little easier to read. There's probably a few things to recommend this. Let's try another one. So I like this, but actually what I really like is I'd like this div to be the child of something. So what I'm going to do to make that happen is I'm going to put the ampersand here and then do the arrow, okay? And you can see when I do this, when I say at or and with the arrow, it's going to change the selector here to be parent child div. So it's going to see that you have a div with this block, and then inside that block, when you have, child div, the ampersand essentially says, like, why don't you go up to the top of the block and get the selector here? So whatever this selector is going to be here. So for example, like if you only wanted to style the div when the parent element was in the hover condition, then you could put :hover here like this, right? And then you can see down here it's going to be hover, right? Okay. You could put also if you thought like, okay, this div actually I only want to style it if it's a sibling, you could put the plus sign here, right? And then it's going to use the plus sign there. Okay, so this is the nested syntax, and you can look that up on the SAS site here. It's under documentation, and then go to documentation here, and then go to style rules. Okay, and then all of these sections here talk about the different ways you can work with selectors in SAS, and there's actually a whole bunch. There's like too many. I could spend like an hour just talking about just these features. Okay, so explore that. I just kind of hit on an idea that is practical, that you could use every day, and it affects us in our style sheet here, right? So we have this Lotus child div, and then we have all of these Lotus child div nth child. So my challenge to you is to use the this syntax here in your SAS document, okay? So you would be applying it here and here, okay? Right, and through all these guys, right, like up to here. Sorry, I'm scrolling like crazy. There you go, so through these. So I'm gonna leave you to try that on your own, and then we'll talk about it in the next video, okay? So thanks for watching, and good luck with your projects, okay? And as always, have a great day.